This lineup you see on the screen is the top projected one tonight for Niners Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. It's a good lineup to use in cash games, but the best way to use it is to figure out how everyone else will build tonight on DraftKings. In this video, I'll give you key stats and fantasy data for Niners Seahawks, and break down the top projected lineups to give us some unique ideas on how to build lineups tonight. And by the end, you'll know 3 pro tips to maybe allow you to get different enough to win $500,000 tonight on DraftKings Showdown. As always, let's start with the odds for the game as our basis. The Niners are a 3-point favorite on the road in a game with a 43-point over-under. That means the Niners get a 23-point implied total from Vegas, and the Seahawks have a 20-point implied total. The top 3 projected players in the game are number 1, Christian McCaffrey with a 24.7 DK point projection, according to Stokastic.com. Number 2 is Geno Smith with a 17.3 DK point projection. And number 3 is Brock Purdy, who, assuming he can play, has a 15.5 DK point projection. If Purdy misses, veteran Josh Johnson would pick up the start and be a similarly good play. These 3, they also project to be the highest owned players on tonight's slate. McCaffrey projects for over 80% ownership overall, with over 25% of the field expected to play him at captain. While Geno and Purdy, they project for around 50% ownership overall, and they, along with everyone else tonight, project for under 10% ownership at captain. Niners receivers Danny Gray and Ray McLeod project as 2 of the top value plays on the slate at $1,200 and $200 respectively. Both should see more work with Deebo Samuel out, but Juwan Jennings may be the higher upside play, with him already ahead of the pecking order of guys like McLeod and Gray. Kenneth Walker will also play tonight after missing week 14. He's priced very affordably in a tough matchup, and his middling 12.7 DK point projection could be crucial if he resumes his previous bell cow back workload. Let's go back to our top projected lineups on Fantasy Cruncher to see how this all affects the top lineups being built. So you're going to see here, Christian McCaffrey makes every single lineup. He shows up in 86% of our top 25 lineups at captain. He's also there 14% of the time in utility. He is, in fact, the only player to make every single lineup with Geno Smith, Brock Purdy, and Kenneth Walker in between 65% and 90% of lineups, with only one entirely unavoidable player in McCaffrey, meaning he's the guy you would fade if you wanted to move away from the entire field. We should look closer at overall construction to find other ways to get different. 21 out of 25 lineups have 3 or 4 49ers in it, which means playing more Seahawks or 49ers onslaughts are a way to get different. And after what we've seen lately, it's probably worth trying a few lineups without Christian McCaffrey, just in case he ends up like Ramondre, Kyler Murray, or Devontae Parker did on Monday, or John Wolford did last week. We'll talk more in a bit about some unique lineups that I think make sense. But let's hit some noteworthy stats for Niners Seahawks first. It's a much easier for the Niners than Seattle, even without Deebo Samuel. The Seahawks D gives up a high 0.17 estimated points added on throws under 20 yards, along with a high 72% completion rate at 7.5 yards per attempt. They also give up a high 4.7 adjusted line yards per rush and allow touchdowns on 27% of opponent drives. This all means that there are no statistical reasons to dislike Christian McCaffrey other than the fact that everyone will play him tonight. Seattle's been the worst in the league at defending wide receiver 2s with a 35% boost to the position. This can make Juwan Jennings even more valuable, with him likely in the mix behind Brandon Ayuk. Seattle is also 27th versus tight ends, so George Kittle could be a low-owned captain to try. He should see a boost in production without Deebo, even though Brandon Ayuk sees a much bigger boost in production historically. In games with Deebo since 2020, Ayuk has seen 6 targets and 12.2 PPR points. 8 games without Deebo, Ayuk sees 7.9 targets and 15.4 PPR points. Seattle's matchup versus the Niners D is much less exciting. The Niners' negative 0.104 EPA per play is one of the best marks in the league. Same for their low 35% rushing success rate and 3.7 adjusted line yards per play allowed. The one weakness for the Niners, you can beat them deep. The Niners give up a 0.44 EPA on throws of 20 plus yards, and Geno Smith, he has a 119.3 QB rating on deep plays. The Niners also play zone defense on a high 58% of dropbacks, which has been a better situation for Tyler Lockett than DK Metcalf. Lockett is targeted on 23% of his routes versus zone for 2.2 yards per route run. That compares to a 21.5% target rate for Metcalf and 1.6 yards per route run. Metcalf reduces a lot of his yards on his 37.5% target share versus man defense, so this could be a key decision point. The Niners are also 31st in the league versus wide receiver 3s with a 39% DVOA boost to the position. So maybe Marquise Goodwin is a low-owned play who could win it all. Either way, let's take all this information and let's make some unique lineups. Now, you can play these 3 lineups if you want in the big tournaments, but the best way to use them is as a thought starter to build your own lineups with the players that you love. And this first one, it really hits all the notes that we've discussed discussed. You've got Tyler Lockett at captain, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Marquise Goodwin, Robbie Gould, and Juwan Jennings. We're targeting the matchup in the deep ball with Lockett, but getting different right away with no Geno and no Purdy. We're basically saying all the pass game production concentrates for these receivers, and then Robbie Gould kicks enough field goals to limit McCaffrey's touchdown production. Because we've wiped out so many top-owned plays, we don't have to leave a lot of salary on the table to get different. Here's another lineup that also probably loves Juwan Jennings too much. We had Juwan Jennings at captain, Christian McCaffrey, Geno Smith, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker, and Robbie Gould. This fits in a lot of the same thoughts in that last lineup, but gets more off the beaten path at captain with Jennings. That allows us to jam in more top plays while fading ownership that'll go to Ayuk, Purdy, and Kittle. It's hard to expect Jennings to have the ceiling to win a showdown, but if he has a good game and saves enough money to get all the good plays in, he could be a functional captain, if not the highest upside one. And here's one more line for all of you guys out there who are dying to play Christian McCaffrey at captain. You're gonna have to get off the beaten path to take it down with him. So how about a Niners onslaught? McCaffrey at captain, Kenneth Walker as our lone Seahawk, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, 49ers D, and Kyle Juszczyk. It's more likely for a receiver to make it as the lone player in a 5-1 onslaught, but we know Walker can break a play at any moment with his 25% avoided tackle rate. We can't afford one of the better Seattle pass catchers if we want to get Kittle and Ayuk in, but both those guys, they could definitely outscore Brock Purdy. Now for what I always think is the best part of the video, 3 pro tips to get different on tonight's Niners Seahawks DraftKings Showdown slate. Number 1 won't be a surprise, but be mindful of Christian McCaffrey. He makes it into every lineup in an optimizer, and he's in a great spot. That said, we have seen weird things happen in Showdown, and it's entirely possible he doesn't make an optimal lineup work at captain even if he's healthy the whole game. When the best play in a slate is this obvious, it makes sense to try to profit off the volatility and the fact that everybody's treating football like it's binary. Our second pro tip, onslaughts are on the menu, boys. Whenever you see the top projected lineups doing one thing, like forcing onslaughts or kickers or defenses, you'll win money by avoiding that one thing that everybody does. With so little Niners onslaughts despite their upside, and no Seahawks 5-1 builds and the chance that there's an upset, I will play a portion of onslaughts tonight with everybody else more focused on more evenly distributed builds. And number 3, be willing to avoid the QBs. Both Brock Purdy and Geno Smith have been way better this year than you'd expect, but in a low total game with at least one really tough defense, it's possible they can concentrate production even more to their pass catchers and rushers. All it takes is a good PPR day or a big play for the receivers, and they can easily outscore their QBs. A lot of lineups likely to have at least one QB. You can get different and still try to capture the production that they create. So there you have it, guys. Everything that feels important for Thursday Night Football, Niners Seahawks. So now it's the time to hit that like button and subscribe to Splash Play. We've got new videos daily, and I promise it'll make you smarter about how to actually win at fantasy football. So follow me at Chris Spags and follow this show at Splash Play Pod. I'll see you guys again soon. Good luck tonight. I gotta say, I wasn't the most excited about this slate before I started the video, but now that I've talked it through and really fallen in love with guys like Juwan Jennings, I think there's no way this could possibly go wrong other than when I guess every player gets a concussion or an ACL injury within the first drive.